You can't speak about alpha-arbutin without making reference to hydroquinone. Reason being that alpha-arbutin is a derivative of hydroquinone. But hold on. It does not have the same side effects, or it does not have the same negative elements associated with hydroquinone. Just because it's bettered from hydroquinone doesn't mean that it is wild like that. But then looking at hydroquinone on its own is actually a superhero in some cases, but eventually turns villain when used for a long period of time. But in the case of alpha-butin, it's not like that. When we talk of derivative, in as much as it is coming from a mother that looks like this, doesn't mean that it is going to be exactly like the mother, if what I'm saying at all makes sense. So alpha-arbutin is a good tyrosinase inhibitor that has a usage range of about 0.1 to 2% in your cosmetic formula, or in my cosmetic formula. I have alpha-arbutin at 2% in my body moisturizer and also in my face creams. The reason why alpha-arbutin is a compulsory ingredient in those moisturizing products is the fact that I formulate cosmetic products for skin of color. And what is one of the issues that we skin of color battle with? Hyperpigmentation. So obviously they have to be on stay on products like that. I do not use alpha-arbutin in rinsed out product, because for me I feel that putting it in rinsed out products is just a waste. In fact, in general, putting actives, like serious actives, if you know what I'm trying to say to you, in rinse of product is not really my thing. I do it once in a while. Like example, in my soap, in my handmade soaps, I have kojic dipalmitate in it, but basically it is a soap that afterwards you will need a moisturizer, right? So alpha-arbutin is an ingredient to consider, and it is the safest ingredient for tyrosinase inhibiting as compared to hydroquinone. I still say it is much safer. Okay, you might want to ask, what's the difference? You're calling hydroquinone a villain, and you're saying alpha-arbutin is coming from hydroquinone. So how can we trust alpha-arbutin, right? Could it be a question from someone? Okay, this is it. The fact that it is a derivative of hydroquinone gives it a little bit of strength. Like, the strength that alpha-arbutin has is not compared to hydroquinone. Now, alpha-arbutin is released gradually, onto the skin. Like, it's released for hyperpigmentation purposes gradually to the skin, unlike hydroquinone. What am I trying to say? For instance, now you're using a product with hydroquinone at the same 2%, okay? You might see change as short as, depending on your type of skin, you might see a change as short as 7 days. You understand? But when you're using alpha-arbutin, no, you would not see such drastic change in 7 days. Probably, let's say, from 4 weeks and above, right? I do have serious pigmentation. I don't know if you can see from my camera on my forehead. I've been battling with that like way long ago. But for now, I use 2% alpha-arbutin serum, and it's really doing a good job. Honestly, it's really doing a good job. So alpha-arbutin is something that I have used, right? And I am telling you that when you're battling with hyperpigmentation, but meanwhile, when the person, in case you're giving it to someone, or rather, let me see if I'm speaking for myself, if I meet someone that has a damaged skin from the result of bleaching with hydroquinone and all of that, I do not give them products that contain alpha-arbutin. In fact, I do not give them products that contain any tyrosinase inhibitor at all. Reason being that prolonged use of products with hydroquinone and steroids could cause a lot of complication on the skin. Yes, one of such complications could be ochronosis, mostly diagnosed by dermatologists, and then there is that serious pigmentation. I'm sorry to say, some of those hyperpigmentation are almost even irreversible. So cases like that, I do not give anything with tyrosinase inhibitor. Rather, I love to ask the person in question to just go with products that do not have any hydroquinone. Probably even petroleum jelly is a good option, or shea butter is a good option for the skin to heal. Sort of, yes, there's going to be a lot of patches, but for the skin to sort of heal and get back, I don't know, because you see, at the end of the day, these tyrosinase inhibitors, in as much as we call them safer alternatives to tyrosinase inhibitors like hydroquinone, doesn't mean that they do not also have to do with tampering with the melanin. they inhibit the melanin, and that's why we call them tyrosinase inhibitors. They inhibit the melanin. They do not erode the melanin, unlike the hydroquinone. Okay, and the reason why hydroquinone works faster is because it erodes. Yeah, it does a lot of eroding. So therefore, when someone with a damaged skin, especially melanated skin, obviously I make products for people that resemble me, comes with a damaged skin from bleaching, I would not recommend alpha arbutin immediately. Allow the skin to heal first, to calm down, because when people hear that alpha arbutin has brightening, lightening, but mind you, it doesn't have whitening ability. That's the truth, and it is not advisable to be used beyond 2%. If you use it beyond 2%, you might end up having issues that you might not like, because don't forget, it releases hydroquinone slowly. It might not cause ochronosis, but then calm down. Learn to use things as manufacturer usage rates. For me, I don't see the reason why you should overdose on a product like hydroquinone and then still feel comfortable again coming to still overdose on another product like alpha arbutin just because you think it's safe. It might not necessarily give you what you want. So basically, I might be low-key even speaking to people that maybe new beginner formulators or something like that. Try to stick to the usage percentage of alpha arbutin to get the maximum benefit of its tyrosinase inhibitor properties. Meanwhile, let me digress a little bit. In some of my product, like exfoliating products, lactic acid, I have a lactic acid serum, and I also have a lactic acid lotion-ish, right? Now I do add a little bit of alpha arbutin as low as, let's say, 0.2%. It also helps, right? But it's at that very little, very little quantity. I don't know if you know what I'm trying to say to you. So basically, alpha arbutin, in as much as it is an awesome ingredient, you still need to be careful and work with it within a safe pH. That's another very important thing, because when something is derived from a certain body, it has a high tendency of, as soon as it feels uncomfortable, it can run back to its original state. And that is why I tell people not to use alpha arbutin inside African black soap, in as much as you want to make a lightening black soap or whatever, or even handmade soaps. Why? Because these things are highly alkaline in nature, highly alkaline. So adding alpha arbutin inside is going to end up giving you a characteristic. Will it work? Yes, it will work, but it will end up giving you a characteristics of hydroquinone. That's why some people say that I'm using a black. So no, I know it, but you don't see green veins and all of that. Or you get that kind of thing. That's what I'm sure. Basically, what I'm saying is that overdosing on alpha arbutin can give you similar characteristics of using hydroquinone, which you and I know that we don't want. So using a safer option to hydroquinone is an ingredient like alpha arbutin, and the good thing is it's compatible with niacinamide. It's also compatible with licorice. So you see, it's speed. So there's no need for you to overdose on alpha arbutin just because you want a fast result. It is compatible with other tyrosinase inhibitors as well. Okay, so putting alpha arbutin alone as a major tyrosinase inhibitor in your moisturizer might not necessarily be a good idea. Add one or two, and do not overdose on these tyrosinase inhibitors, because they have similar characteristics. What do I mean by they have similar characteristics? The same characteristics of your tyrosinase inhibitor alpha arbutin is also the same characteristics with your licorice. It's also the same characteristics with your sepi white. It's also the same characteristics with your giga white. So you have to be very careful so you don't overdose or you don't overuse these things. Personally, I tell my formulators not to use more than 3 tyrosinase inhibitors. Anything beyond that might cause problems for you. Am I talking too much? Let me come to the end of this video. Thank you so much. If you watched this point, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you like what you see here, and hope to see you in another video soon. Bye.